This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, it is May 18th, 2021. And I have a guest from a project I just heard about through one of his actresses. And it caught my attention. And when something catches my attention, I investigate. Folks, that film is The Witches in the Sands. And I have the director himself, all the way from London. Yes, the awesome Tony Mardon. How do you do, Tony?
Hi, how you doing? I'm very well. Lovely to be here. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
I'm
It's
dressed for I'm dressed for it too.
hey, fantastic. That's what I
Yeah, because
like to
I
see.
I know you got Barbara
Menolfi.
Menelfi in the
Yes.
film, so I thought I'd wear my Suspiria shirt. I've had three people from Suspiria on the show.
Ah, wow.
I haven't had her on yet. I would
She's
love to
lovely.
have her.
She's lovely.
Well, if you could connect me with her, I'd love to
I
have
would
her.
certainly do my best.
Yeah.
I'll mention it to her. Yeah, we're often chatting away. So
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
I've had Stefania Cassini on, who was
Yeah,
the razor wire victim. I had Jessica Harper on, and
fantastic.
I had Daria Nicolodi on
Oh
a
wow.
few months before she passed.
Let's say, yeah, fantastic. Wow.
She,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was never lucky enough to meet Daria. I would like to have done because I admire so much of her work. And I'd love to have chatted to her, about everything. So I imagine she's one of those people who are just very interesting. A lot of stories. That's how I feel. I'm actually just quickly, I'm actually just outside London. I'm in a small place. This might be relevant to you. In a place called Whitstable in Kent. Now, Whitstable is where Peter Cushing lived. Uh,
Ah,
so
there we go.
I live about 10 minutes away from his house, his old house. So
Hmm.
yeah, so it's just a little bit of information for you there. Yeah, Whitstable is known for Peter Cushing and oysters because it's a little seaside town. So it's very famous oysters and Peter Cushing. I mean, everyone lined when on his funeral. He was very much loved here, and everyone lined the streets to when
Uh-huh.
a procession went past. Yeah, he was very much. We kind of we took him to heart, and he didn't like huge amounts of attention and stuff, and we were very protective of him. But anyway, sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I'm in a little spot called New Brunswick, Canada, out of the city of Fredericton. So I am 4 hours behind you, but I'm 4 hours ahead of Los Angeles. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I've got it. I've only been to Canada once, Montreal,
Hmm.
and thoroughly. It was very, 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 very cold. It was very good. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
very cold. Yeah, but we were on our way to New York, and there was I can't remember which year it was. It was massive, massive snowstorms and things, and we were devoted to Montreal, and we spent a very nice, very pleasant few days there. But
Yeah.
anyway, yes, but Suspiria, one of my favorites,
I love
definitely.
Suspiria. My story about Daria Nicolodi, I reached out to her in 2016. I connected with her on Twitter. She was very friendly, but she turned me down an interview. She was kind of frustrated talking about the many Dario Argento films that she was involved with.
Ah, interesting.
So I let it go. But last year, what had happened is Deep Red was celebrating its 45th anniversary.
Mm,
And that's the film I really think of when I think of Daria Nicolodi is Deep Red.
mm.
And I pitched it again to her. And these are her words. She said, "This interview probably will not happen."
Okay.
But I humored her. Because thing is, I started doing the conventions in Toronto in 2017.
Hmm.
And in 2019, when I met Lamberto Bava.
Yes.
I knew Daria was in Mario Bava's last movie, Shock,
Hmm.
and she was in one movie by Lamberto. I brought that up to her. So she said if she did the interview, she said she'd do it on two conditions. She said one, she wanted to talk about how much she loved Mario Bava,
Right.
and two, she wanted to really promote her love for her daughter, Asia Argento.
Sure.
And I said, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
She came on, and we did talk some deep red.
Yeah.
And Suspiria was mentioned, and I brought up Jennifer Connelly and Phenomena or whatever they call that, and Opera, who I've interviewed somebody from as well.
Yeah.
But we talked about Mario Bava, Shock, Lamberto, and we talked about Asia. And by the end of the interview, she said, she was very apologetic for turning me down before, but she said she had so much fun. I'm so glad that interview happened. I was so sad when
Yeah.
she passed.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really that's a lovely story.
Hmm.
Yeah. Out of a lot of people, I'd love to have. She's someone I'd like to have sat down with and just chatted to, and just just chatted about stuff, So I imagine she was very interesting. I met Asia a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
When I was, well, I still am. I'm a fanboy. Essentially, I'm a massive fanboy of horror films and films in general, especially horror. And it was Phantasm. It was an event with Phantasm. I think it was about '96, and Trauma. I think it was out or just coming out. Had been out a little while. Dario was here. Uh, and um, and some others, and Delamore was playing, and yeah. So and I said to Asia, could I have a little kiss? And she gave me a little kiss on the cheek. So, but I must have. I was only, I was very sort of. I was about the early '90s. I was probably about 20, and she humoured me basically. So, but yeah, no, it was good. It was good. Yeah. So yeah, essentially massive fanboy. So there was a memory I should
Yeah,
cherish definitely.
yeah. So I thought I'd wear this in honor of your movie because
That's lovely.
Barbara
That's
Meng.
really,
Yeah,
I love that.
I got this at Horror Rama in Toronto, and
Okay.
well, one of my guests, Lisa Langlois from class of 1984,
Yeah.
invited me to assist her at Horror Rama in Toronto.
Oh, nice.
It was the first time I'd ever been out of New Brunswick, so
Wow.
other than PEI, but and I got the fever when it comes to these conventions.
Yeah.
I miss it so much. I had so much
Yeah.
fun and
Yeah.
yep.
We
So
we over here. I mean, we've had some horror cons. We've got kind of two, I suppose. We've got uh two big horror cons. The Love of Horror
uh-huh.
and the horror con, basically it's called the horror con. I think it's called Something Wicked This Way Comes now. Both up north. Both got great guests.
Hmm.
It's just finding money, because I mean, it's the other side of it. I know it's probably about 4 or 5 hours drive away, which to me sounds like a long way. So, but it's time. So,
Hmm.
um, but I'll get to go at some point. The one in Sheffield I go to every year, and it's a really it's only a few guests, but it's more of a family kind of
You know what? I prefer the smaller cons because you have more
yeah,
time with the guests. I've been
exactly.
to three horror ramas in Toronto, and I was to one Toronto Comic Con. And although the Toronto Comic Con was fun, I prefer the horror ramas because not nearly as crowded.
Yeah.
You've you're able to talk to the guest without cutting anybody's time off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, feel
Yeah,
pressure to move on.
I
Yeah, it's a
I, I enjoyed it. In
yeah.
fact, I've met some of the people that you've got in the movie we're going to be discussing.
Ah, fantastic.
Oh yeah, I've had a few. You're my fourth person from Witches in the Sands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had some
I,
of
I'm
you
just
on
gonna have to
here.
say, I'm just gonna have to say quickly, it's the Witches of the Sands, but it doesn't matter.
Witches of the Sands. Okay,
Yeah,
my
it doesn't matter.
apologies.
It doesn't really matter, but we find it quite funny because without realizing the title abbreviates to Twots, the Witches of the Sands. So we're just all fans of Twots, and we love Twots and things like that. Now it's just and we didn't I didn't realize that when I named it, but it kind of works. It fits nicely. So we just love Twots. That's all. So I'm gotta get some T-shirts printed, really. But
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry. I'm the fourth from the
Yep.
Witches of Sands. So who are the others? So you got Lin,
Well, we'll talk about that
okay.
momentarily. I want to
Okay.
get a little bit of your background and how you
Mm.
got to be where you are.
Well, the thing is, I'm kind of nowhere really. And I feel like it's so I started off. I trained as a teacher. My degree is in fine art. I was an art teacher at school.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, and I taught, and then I went to teach children who hadn't coped with school, and so disadvantaged children and children
Okay.
who'd had some pretty tough lives. And I did that last part for about 8-9 years. And then I thought, I can't really, I need to move on. I kind of burnt out a little bit doing that because it's actually quite mentally, it's draining.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, it's draining as well. And so I thought, well, and my degree's in fine art, so I started doing a lot of art. And when I was doing that, I was looking for other ways to make a bit of money. So I started doing some extras work in, just background stuff in films and TV,
Mm-hmm.
which it was either, there was some that was great fun, and there was some that you can imagine as really dull, and it left me wanting more. I didn't want to just be in the background. So and then a friend of mine, Tris Thompson, who's quite involved in the horror film indie world in the UK, so sent me an audition, a casting call for a film called Beyond Fury.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it, and I got the part. So that was with Giovanni Lombardo Radici, who I think you guys would know as Johnny Morgan, City of the Living Dead and Cannibal Apocalypse, Cannibal Ferox, House on the Edge of the Park. I didn't have any scenes with him, but that's essentially how I started acting.
Mm-hmm.
Then from that, there's quite a tight indie scene in the UK. So when I worked for Darren on that, I just got introduced to other people here and there, and then people saw my performance and liked it, and they said, "Oh, would you like to come and do this or this or this?" So I did that. And then from there, I started thinking about what I would like to do. And I think what when you're not a part of the industry, and I don't consider myself necessarily to be a part of the industry so much at the moment, but when you're not in it at all, the thought of making a movie or a film is, it's out there. It's not even, where would you even start? If you hadn't got any connections to it at all. So it never really occurred to me. Then the more I saw my friends and people who became my friends making films, I started thinking, well, actually, maybe it's possible. But I still didn't really pay much attention to it. And I was lucky enough to get a part in the Jason Sudeikis series Ted Lasso. I don't know if
Okay.
you know that. So I mean, it was again, it wasn't really doing much, but I was there sort of for 3 months, and we had a great time, and that kind of spurred me on. And again, I felt like I was on the periphery again too much. I wanted to be doing more.
Mm-hmm.
And so then lockdown hit, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to have a go. Oh, I'll tell you what happened. A friend of mine, Sam Mason Bell, who is again independent director, he said, "You fancy coming up with a 15-minute short for an anthology I'm putting together?" And it started. That's how Witches of the Sands actually started, as a 15-minute short, and then it grew and grew and grew. I got my friend Brandon Crane from it, and so he's a friend of mine. He came on board, to help me out. And then from there, it kind of spirals. Then it turns out, then Sam didn't get the amount of people to do the anthology he wanted, so I just grew it as a film on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it started. So basically, the answer to your question, that I've been waffling on for ages about now, is that I wanted to be more involved.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to act in it. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I had this crazy ideas that I wanted to get down and do, because it's a lot. There's loads of horror films around. Everyone's making horror films. Everyone's making horror films, which is great for the genre. Because I love watching. I don't care if someone spent £10 making a film or 100 million making a film. I'm happy to watch it. But I really wanted to do something that I wanted to do, and this was my opportunity. This was my way of going about it, really. So that's how it started, and that's where I am. Because of my friends. And I'll tell you what, actually, I have my technical ability, as we saw earlier, I'll take the rap. With me trying to set up Zoom, for
That's
example.
okay.
It's I have the ideas, I have the creativity, I love directing, I love writing.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I'm bereft, so I've got an amazing crew, who are well proven in their fields, who I've worked with before when I've acted for them, and so it's a bit of give and take. We help each other out. Otherwise, I couldn't have afforded to do it, So I owe a lot to other people, but I suppose everyone does. Everyone starts somewhere, don't they? So, but that's where I am with that. That's in a roundabout sort of way. I've kind of answered your question, I think.
Well, I noticed. Now, I have not interviewed Deborah Lamb, but I noticed she is in kind of a high position involvement in this film. Talk about that.
Deborah, massive love for Deborah.
Mm-hmm.
She came on board, and we chatted through some ideas, and she said, "Look, I wanted Deborah. I don't want to give too much away, but so I can talk about it a little bit. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we have a few flashbacks throughout one of the narratives, or two kind of narratives running through the film,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them is about this character called Fisher, who is when we first see him, he's a crap paranormal investigator. I mean, he's shocking. He's just he's doing it because he kind of feels like it's something to do. But he's a bit of a Pete Venkman in Ghostbusters. He's kind of there, but he's doing it for kind of the wrong reasons until things start getting a little more real for him. And then throughout the film, in a series of flashbacks, what we discover is that his family, his name's Fisher Markway, the Markways that go back centuries as these evil hunters, I suppose, destroyers of evil. So there's a series of flashbacks from to Druids to sort of Middle England to Witchfinders 1600s, etc., etc. And so Deborah is in one of these flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the original witches who gets killed by Sir Roger de Markway, one of my ancestors. And we talked about it, what we wanted, and she actually went and set it up. I mean, she happened to be flying somewhere, I think Philadelphia, to shoot something else, and with some other people, but had a day she could fit this in. So her friend Mark Bonacore got involved. Now he'd shot a film called The Fae, with some knights and things. So Deborah said, "Well, I can get these knights outfits. I can get these knights costumes." I said, "Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh,
This is all."
wow.
And so then Mark came on board and directed that scene. With my kind of ideas, I said, "This is what I want. what can can you do it? And they basically went off and did it.
I've
It
seen some footage from that. It looks pretty good.
it is. It's really good. So that was what I wanted was a real gothic Hammer
Mhm.
horror type, woman in the woods, walking around. Then we find out she's a witch and she's doing some conjuring. All of a sudden, there's knights around. It's very much so. It's the opening of the film. It's like we're opening with that,
Okay.
with a very gothic, the Hammer type, witches of the sands, and a bit of, like you get at the beginning of a Hammer film, you get a bit of explanation. The year is, blah blah blah. So people watching it are going to think, oh, okay, this is a period piece. So then, of course, we move it into modern day. But yeah, Deborah was absolutely fantastic. I mean, everything about that scene was amazing. So she really, so everything I credited with, she's absolutely deserved. But what's lovely as well is she's supported the film and me throughout. Very, she stayed very much involved.
Yeah,
Um,
she's an
and
executive producer, is she not?
yes,
Yeah.
and she's absolutely lovely. She's a lovely, lovely lady. So we sort of video chat
I
once
gotta
every
get
couple
her
of
on
weeks.
here at some point. I haven't had her on yet, so
She
yeah.
she she definitely one to have on, and she's brilliant to talk to. She's got so many stories. Her Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. She was in that. Talk about John Candy. And the stuff she's doing now, and it's absolutely, she's there's loads of mileage, loads you can talk about, and yeah, I mean, and she's great entertainment. She's really good fun and
Yeah.
lovely.
Well,
So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of her.
I first heard of this project while I was on Facebook, and it came up in the feed for Lynn Laurie. Now,
Yes.
Lynn, I haven't had on the show yet either, but we're working on it probably when she gets back from a film shoot.
Mm.
I met Lynn at Horrorama 2018. And one of your other participants was there that year too, that whom we'll get to in a minute.
Okay.
But Lynn was there, and she was one of the people I really wanted to meet because I thought she was so gorgeous and shivers.
That's stunning, stunning.
Yeah, and she still is, and
She's beautiful, beautiful lady.
she's a hugger too, which I like.
Oh, that's good.
I got a couple pictures of her on Facebook where I met her at Horrorama, and I've got right now 4 movies signed by her. At her table, she signed a movie she did with Mary Warnow called Sugar Cookies,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I had never seen that, but I thought she's in a movie with Mary Warnow. I kind of like that combination, so I bought it. But I got that, and I got a couple pictures, maybe 3 pictures. I don't remember, signed by her. She's so photogenic.
Yeah.
But we kept in touch. It was the first time I'd ever pitched my podcast and had somebody give me their phone number on the spot. They
Wow.
usually give me an email address, but she gave me her phone number. Now, I've never called her, um, but we have kept in touch. She said email is the best way to get hold of her, but I've got right now, since the pandemic started, she's been doing some Blu-ray signings. So I got Shivers signed by her. I got The
Brilliant.
Crazy signed by her. I got I Drink Your Blood
I think
signed by
yeah.
her. You know, so I'm planning. Like I wanted to wait till you see, the stations. I haven't done an interview at the station since March 18th, 2020. And when that happened, I haven't had access to getting in the station. So
Mm.
um, I had one of my guests say that if she can do Zoom, I can do Zoom. So I was able to get this going thanks to my brother being a lot more tech than I am. And I've been just going with taking the ball and run with these. You're number 47 this year. So I'm
Brilliant.
liking that.
Yeah, I love
So,
it.
yep. So I wanted to make sure I got things tip top shape before I had Lynn Laurie on here. And so I think when she gets back from her film shoot, she's coming on, and I'm looking forward.
She's another lovely lady and someone
Hmm.
who's helped out a lot and stays in touch.
Yeah.
And I can't. Her scene in the film is a bit of a. It's totally unexpected, and it's totally fantastic. And I'm not I'm not just kind of singing, blowing my own trumpet. It's people are gonna love it. People are gonna laugh, and people are gonna be kind of shocked. It just works. It's kind of meta and fun, and yeah, I think people are going to be like, "Whoa, that's cool." That's what I'm hoping. Again, she filmed that herself. We talked about costume and at different angles and shots and stuff, and Lynn did it and was absolutely fantastic. It was I couldn't have asked for more. It was fantastic. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to people seeing that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The other person I met at Horrorama, and I actually had her on my show on my birthday in 2019, is Linnea Quigley.
Hey, yeah. So yeah,
Linnea's a hoot.
but she is. But do you know what? I mean, you won up on me there because I've never met her. But we zoomed, we chatted quite a long time. And obviously I'd sent the scripts and her side to her manager.
Uh-huh.
That this Linnea was the most formal approach. The manager, agent, Linnea. Um, uh, but we set up a Zoom. She knew exactly what she was doing. We chatted a long time, and she was lovely. She's got talked about her dogs and her dog sanctuary and rescue
Yeah.
dogs and things, and she was absolutely lovely. And then when she sent the stuff through, again, really funny, great, really entertaining. Again, it's a very postmodern kind of meta scene. There's a couple of cracking lines in it, and without giving too much away, she shares a scene with Beverly. So
Beverly Randolph.
Beverly Randolph
Oh
and
yeah, both from Return of the Living Dead. Yeah.
exactly. So I can't say too much, but and Brink's in that scene as well. So I don't want to say too much, but it's it's a film full of nostalgia for all the films that we love, but with a fresh kind of modern approach. That's kind of how I feel about it. So I think there's a lot of films, aren't there, at the moment that I love in the 80s, which is great. From Stranger Things to some more of the lower budget stuff,
Hmm.
and that's great because we all love 80s horror. Who doesn't? But I also wanted to do something a little bit different with it as well. So, well, I digress a minute. I apologise. So all the kind of the cult horror icons that are in the film,
Hmm.
there's all their scenes were specifically written for them. So what I didn't want, which I've seen happen a few times, I'm not naming films or anything, but there's been these massive sort of ensemble casts, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be absolutely fantastic." And then you watch it, and they could have kind of been anyone. It didn't have to be these particular people.
Okay.
So what I and almost you almost feel, okay. And so whereas what I've done is you kind of, I've got to be careful what I say. I don't reference their work, but there's definitely an understanding of where these people have come from and some of their films, which I've kind of brought to the scenes they're in.
Hmm.
And everyone has been, I get it, yeah. The actors themselves, that they're loving it. So that's where that's come from. But so Linnea was absolutely lovely. But again, I haven't met her yet. So I know the last time she came up to England was at HorrorCon, and I didn't go to that one, unfortunately.
Oh,
So
I met her. Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to. I would
Yeah.
love to because I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but
I
obviously
am going to be 49 in July.
Oh, well, I'm going to be 49 in September. So
Oh, there you go.
there you go. So they're spot on. So they would probably grow up watching very similar films. And me looking at, I was just always envious of everyone, over, in America, Canada, whatever, reading Fangoria here. When I remember the first time I saw this magazine, in the stands, and it was an eye opener to me, because I was looking at it thinking, what what are these films, and then waiting for them, then the films would come out and they'd be cut to pieces. So this was at the sort of time where we had a lot of censorship issues in the UK. So I'd be watching these films and looking back at Fangoria, waiting for these gory scenes that I'd seen pictures of, and then they weren't in there. So I was like, what's going on? So I can't even remember what I was talking about now. Linnea. Like I was saying, we grew up watching Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowl of Armour, Hot Tub Scream Party, and Return of the Living Dead, and Night of the Demon, and
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, of course, yeah. I mean, you could go on, but yeah, exactly. And so then to be talking to her, and then talking about, and then she was saying, then me directing her, even via Zoom, it was like, this is madness, this is absolute madness. It's the same with everyone, same with all the cast, obviously. But I think Linnea always had a special place in my heart.
Yeah. She's a hoot to meet if you ever get the chance.
I would love to. Love to.
And I've interviewed Eileen Dietz on here as well, who played Pazuzu in The Exorcist. In fact, I was involved with a James Balsamo film called It Wants Blood, and I was instrumental in getting her in that.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Well, she wanted to be part of my film, and I said, "Oh, it's not my film; it's James's." And I connected them. I think they knew each other anyway.
Yeah.
But I was happy that she was in this film. So, Eileen is wonderful.
Again, when I've talked to her, absolutely fine. I haven't spoken to her too much. I mean, so Brandon Crane scene, and is followed directly by Eileen's, and again, they were both audience pleasers, So what I wanted to do was create. So being a horror lover, since I was knee high, I wanted to create a film, and all my crew are big horror film lovers as well. So everyone involved in the film is a horror film nerd, if you want to, whatever you want to call it, horror film fan, horror film lover, geek, I don't know. And so I wrote this kind of for myself as I wrote the film that I'd want to watch. But also for everyone else who loves horror films, this is what I'm hope. This is kind of where I am. This is what I hope people want to see. It's there's some quite funny bits. There's ridiculously gory bits. There's the great soundtrack. There's these great people in it. I don't know, everything sort of comes together and is created. I've described it as if Monty Python did horror.
I love Monty Python.
Well, so do I. So it's that, it's like they're kind of almost, some in their films, they've got your narratives, but there's little kind of, not skits exactly, but little offsides. And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of that going on.
They did that all through the Holy Grail. Which I think is their best film.
Exactly. Yeah. Holy Grail is absolutely fantastic.
Now, I've also interviewed Genevieve Rossi. She's been on here 3 times.
Yeah,
she's a hoot.
Yeah, she's absolutely fantastic. She does some really great stuff for us.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah. She just did something else as well for the film. Again, I haven't met her. but hopefully at some point I will. But she's just lovely. She's one of these people who's really down to earth, who enjoys what she's doing.
Hmm.
I think, and is just really just just one of those people you kind of like, just what's the word? She's what you see is what you get, and that's a good thing. There's no kind of two-facedness. There's no ulterior motives. If she wants to do
Yeah.
it, she'll do it. If she doesn't, she won't. I think that's the impression I get. And thoroughly enjoyed. I still chat to her, and we're always liking each other's bits and pieces on Facebook, and which is lovely because actually was one of the things, of course, making the film is that I'm still in touch with a lot of these people, which is lovely for me, because like I say, first and foremost, I'm a fan, so
Hmm.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Talk about bringing in Lloyd Kaufman of Trauma, because he's somebody I haven't had on here. I would love to have him on here. He obviously you got something a little different here because you're going to have trauma like creatures in this where people can get a perk where they can provide the
Yeah.
voices.
Well, again,
Talk about this.
so so again, I thought about this. This just idea sort of popped onto my head. So there is some animation running through the film as well. And again, that's not necessarily what makes it Python-esque, but there is that kind of element to it as well, I suppose. So the idea popped into my head one day. So we've got these animations, and I'll tell you what it was. I'll tell you exactly what happened. I found a Toxic Avenger action figure in a
Okay.
in a charity shop, which I think thrift store, I think you call them.
Yep.
So I'm always like popping in because I love my action figures and I love stuff. So
Same here.
I'm always rummaging. And he was just sitting there, kill a lot, and so I bought it, and I was thinking about the animation, and how cool it would be. Again, without giving too much away, to have a little animated trauma section, because again, the film's quite trauma-like as well. In places there's definite connections, and obviously at that point Lloyd had already been in it as well. So I just got in touch and pitched this idea to him, and he said, "Yeah, cool. You can use anyone apart from Toxie." So I was like, "Okay." So, okay. So, and I don't know if that maybe has something to do with the reboot that's coming out. But I also understand that they could be mindful. And so yeah, we've got this sort of scene where the twats, the witches of the sands, decide they want to sort of go and take on Tromaville. It's just a really short. It's a really short little animation, but it's a lot of fun. I don't really want to say much more than that. But Lloyd's been lovely. Lloyd's been fantastic. He's very supportive. And he kind of sees where I'm coming from, like we were chatting the other day, and I think he quite likes the fact that I've literally had no money, I mean, literally
Hmm.
had no money, and I've made half a movie at the moment, um, and done quite a good job, I think. So I think there's a little bit of that kind of trauma love going on. Just I think he just likes the fact that I've got up and done it,
Yep.
and it's had the nerve to ask these people, with no real reason why a lot of people should be in this film. When it's on paper before this started, it was like, well, who is this Tony guy? He's never directed a film before, and here he is, wandering around asking all these people to be in this film, So I think there's a little bit of that, and I think he just likes the fact that I've just got up off my arse and done something I wanted to do. so that's where the Lloyd. Oh, I'll tell you the other thing as well. So I should mention. He was in a film called Ice Cream on the Beach. He had a cameo in Ice Cream on the Beach.
Okay.
By TIS Films, Alex and Michael. And now Alex and Michael are friends of mine, and they're new. There's an anthology horror called Mosaic, which I'm in. So also you've got Simon Bamford from Hellraiser. They played Butterball Cenobite. Danny Thompson, who's a kind of scream queen over here, and a few other people. You know, a lot of other people who work in the horror indie scene. So he was in that. So I think that was how I began talking to him. You know, we were both in. You were in Ice Cream on the Beach, blah blah blah. I'm going to be in Mosaic, blah blah blah. And then the other thing that I mentioned to him was, this is quite funny. He was at a convention. He was at a convention in London, and I was helping my friends out on their stall. So there's a big trauma thing there. Lloyd was there, and I didn't know somehow that he was going to be there. So as I walked past, I had to sort of double take, you know, because I was like, what? Was, you know, these big Class of Newcomb High posters and stuff, and it said Lloyd Kaufman's going to be here at 2:00. I was like, you're joking. So I hadn't bought anything to get signed, so I didn't know he was going to be there. So I'm in this big exhibition centre, you know, waiting to meet Lloyd with everyone else, and they bought some DVDs. So I was getting my DVD cover. I've got my Bloodsucking Freaks and Toxie and everything signed, and there was a guy there dressed up as Toxie. And so I said, what I'd really like signed is that mop. Can I have your mop? Of course, Toxie was reluctant to give up his mop because he needs it, obviously. So I literally went round the whole exhibition centre trying to find a wooden handled mop that I could steal to get Lloyd to sign. So eventually I found this cleaning cupboard, because everything that I'd found so far had like metal handles. I eventually found a broom with a wooden handle, which I got signed, and I could unscrew the bottom of the broom. Got a nice mop head fitted on, like when I got home, you know. And then got this luminous green paint, got this bucket, and so I've got this sort of Lloyd Kaufman and Toxie signed mop and bucket, which is great now. So, but that was quite funny. He remembered that. He's like, he's trying to get a mop handle. Where's he going to get a mop from? You know. So yeah, that was kind of funny. Well, it was kind of a little bit funny, I suppose. But at the time, it was funny. Yeah, so that's where Lloyd got involved. So yeah, so there were through the Ice Cream on the Beach guys, and then that little story, and then I just approached him. You know, I think I got his email from the guys. So yeah.
Talk about Brink Stevens.
Brink again. It's absolutely lovely. She did a lovely little video for my Indiegogo campaign the other day. She's again someone who I think is very busy, who was very happy to do the scene. Again, it's a brilliant fun scene. I haven't stayed in touch as much with her, but we chat a little bit. So she was really kind. She didn't have to do that video for my Indiegogo campaign, but she did it. But no, we chatted. She was lovely, you know. Again, you know, like when I think of kind of the 80s scream queens, it's Linnea, Brink, and Michelle Bauer. I always think of from Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. You know, so that's that. Yeah, and Gunner on the front cover. I don't know what your cover was like over there, but we're sort of Gunner and the girls around him. You know, yeah. So yeah, no, she was lovely. Again, she's got a great scene. You know, I'm probably telling you more than I've told anyone actually. So she's got a scene with. She's in a scene where she's on the phone. Well, she's on a video call between Beverly and Linnea and Brink. And they're kind of like talking to each other, and it's very fun. It's very cool, and yeah. And poor Beverly is running around trying to escape these things. I'm not going to mention, but she's on the phone trying to sort it out, which might sound like a bit like the end of a film that Linnea and Beverly are both in, but I won't say any more than that. But
Okay.
yeah, so it's fun. It's a fun scene. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely lovely again. Yeah.
I got some other names I got to bring up. Michael St. Michael, who was, of course, in a film that I was involved with called Cool as Hell 2.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, okay, I don't know it. What was your involvement in that?
Well, my involvement in films just through Indiegogo. I haven't
Yeah.
done anything with them in a while because I work as a cleaner. You know,
Okay. Yeah,
I do this podcast because I enjoy it, but so I have to be very sparing with my money. But
of course.
Debbie Sue Voorhees reached out to me for 13 Fanboy, which
Yeah.
I had to get involved with that, and I'm on that as a co-producer, and and my picture's going to be in the movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so I'm involved with that, and but James Balsamo has had me in 9 of his movies cameo, where I just shoot the footage here, and
Yeah.
one of them was Cool as Hell 2, and Michael St. Michael was in these scenes with this beautiful tattooed woman, Caroline Winkler, and it was pretty funny, you know. So
I love it. I'll seek it out. So I yeah, I'll seek that out because I can watch St. Michael all day. I think he's great.
mhm.
And I'm also a massive Columbo fan as well. So when he posted a picture of him in the other day in Columbo, I was like, no. So that was cool. And
Mhm.
I'm a massive, 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 massive Greasy Strangler fan. I absolutely adore that film. I I could watch it and watch it and watch it. I just don't know where that script came from. I just absolutely, love it. Everything about the film. I think Michael and Sky are fantastic in it. So I just got in touch with his agent, and from there we became friends. So we chat quite a bit. We stayed in touch, and of course the Video Dead. Back in, was that 1987? I think Video Dead came out. He was in. So yeah, so he's just a nice guy. He's just a nice people, great people to chat to. He's got his stories, been around in the business, and was a hairdresser and this and that. So yeah, no, he's just really nice, and I think he's probably about as technical as I am. So if we can eventually work out how to Skype each other, then we do it. But no, I really like Michael. Yeah, and for me, I was just, again, he was I think one of the first we got on board, and
Mhm.
and and I think because the Greasy Strangler was still, I mean, I know it's a few years old now, but it's still a pretty fresh film. So I was like, so I'm talking to the Greasy Strangler. This was my high point. That was it for me. That made me very happy. Because I mean, I can quote the Greasy Strangler all day, every day. Yeah, so that's how Michael got on board. Yeah,
I got a
so like I said,
couple.
I think. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say I had a couple other people I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
One, I've never had anybody on from American Werewolf in London, and
Ah.
Donna Lee Heising is somebody I think I should seek out.
So American Werewolf in London. Do you mean Lindsay Drew Honey? Are you Donna Lee Heising?
Oh, I'm
So Lindsay.
sorry, I got her confused with somebody else. I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
looking I'm not looking at this thing right.
yeah, no. So Lindsay Drew Honey was in American Werewolf. Yeah. So she was the do you obviously know the film well, when they're in the porn cinema in Piccadilly Circus, and they're in the cinema and they're watching that film on
Oh, I
TV.
love
uh,
that. That
they're
was
watching it,
hilarious.
and the guy comes in. Oh, you said you never do this before. And she says, I've never seen you before in my life. So
I thought that
that's
was hilarious.
but
I'm
it's
sorry,
probably
I got her mixed up with
no.
somebody else here.
I think
Yeah.
probably Dawn Only Hires in Lindsay Drew Honey. So it's probably what is slip of the tongue. Yeah. So Lindsay Drew Honey. I was lucky enough. So we haven't shot yet. So she's coming down to us. So
Uh-huh.
she lives in London. So I live about an hour away from London. Through there's a great company called Misty Moon, and they put on a lot of quite intimate conventions and oh god, what's the word? What's the word when casts get back together?
United.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's going to annoy me now. Anyway, I can't think. But anyway, so they're really involved with horror films. They produced one of Lynn's films, Ready for My Close Up. So that's one of Larry's films. And so they know a lot of people in London and things. And they're also very good friends with Adrienne from the first Friday the 13th.
Oh, Adrienne King. Yeah, I've had her on here. She was my second guest.
She was. I met her at a convention in London as a I just went up to get her autograph, and she was lovely.
Yeah.
And so the Mr. Moon guys, so they put on one of Adrienne's art displays, I think, in London. But anyway, they knew I'm friends with them, and they know Lindsay really well. So I said to them, is there any chance we could get her on as one of the witches? Anyway, back and forth, and she is. And so we've been in touch quite a bit. And she's very lovely. She's a lovely woman. We can't wait to meet her. Again, one of those people that I think has got a lot of stories about the industry. Her son's an actor, Tiger, as well. He's on TV quite a lot and he's in the theatre. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really good shoot. She's playing a witch. It's going to be a Witchfinder General-esque type scene. She's playing the witch. We've captured the witch. She's going to put a curse on a few people, and then meet her end. But yeah, that would be a really good fun scene to film. We're doing it on the cliffs as well. So there's people. There's drone. Imagine the drone shot coming up over these white cliffs, and then there's witch trial things going on the top of the cliffs. It's going to look really good. There's a big Georgian tower there as well, so it's going to really sort of set the scene. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, Lindsay Drew, Dawna's done a great scene as well. Dawna Lee Hyson.
Yeah, Donna. I was just looking up Donna. I was like, I don't know how I got those two confused, but
no,
I just looking up Donna here, and I'm like, okay. Because the person that you had previously mentioned from American Werewolf in London, I had clicked the right name earlier before the interview, and I'm like, I'm not sure why I get them confused. That's my bad, but
easily done. No, she's absolutely lovely. She's so prolific. She's working all the time. Does a lot of Dustin Ferguson's kind of like Rattlers 2, Sharknado type films, Robo Woman, things like that. Absolutely fantastic. And so she plays Hamlet and The Witches of the Sands, and it's one of those sort of jaw dropping scenes that people are going to be, what the hell's going on? But it's I think people will get it. It's it kind of fits in with one of this deceased person in the film and skulls, and she picks the skull up and this and that. It's but yeah, she was absolutely lovely. She's really supportive. She did a lovely video for the Indiegogo campaign. Really lovely lady to talk to. And with a bikini body to die for, I think, as well. Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, fantastic, lovely lady. Yeah, definitely. I've been blessed. I've been absolutely blessed with everyone.
I'd say so. Yeah.
It's mad. Yeah, absolutely mad. Yeah, very, very lucky.
Well, I think the last one I want to bring up is Danny Thompson.
Danny Thompson.
Yeah.
Yes. She's we're good friends. We just, what did we do? The last thing we did together, Mosaic. So we did a film called Mosaic, which is one I was talking about, the Ice Cream on the Beach guys. This is their new one. So there's about 10 stories in that. It's an anthology. It's all tied together by like a detectives you know, you get the, you know, when the police are solving crimes, they've got the photos up, the bits of string going to different clues and on their board, you know, and it's that. It's like all the stories tied together that way. It's fantastic. Danny's great. Again, she's the first time I worked with her was in Beyond Fury.
Hmm.
Me and my gang, who kind of work for Giovanni Lombardo Radici's nasty character, we're really unpleasant in that film. We're really unpleasant. She's just out with her boyfriend. She's heavily pregnant. We decide we like the look of her, do unspeakable things, leave her for dead, stab her baby, and you know, it's do nasty things to her. And then we leave the boyfriend for dead, and it's a classic kind of Death Wish vigilante thing. Obviously, he's not dead; he's ex special forces, and he comes and picks us all off one by one. That was the first time I met Danny, and then we seem to have worked together quite a lot before since then on a film called Our Manor, Mosaic. I did a bit in a film she wrote called Bad Moon Rising, which is a werewolf film, which will be coming out soon. I think it should have been out already, but obviously with lockdowns and stuff, it's been put back. Then we're doing a vampire film. I've got one scene, she's going to bite my neck. Things like that. I know, it's a hard life. It's a tough life.
Well, if you're going to have your neck bitten, Danny Thompson's
well,
a good way to
it
go.
might as well be Danny, yeah. No, she's just one of those people who is just really nice. You know, another person who is just quite straight talking. You kind of know where you are with her, which I like. And actually, she's coming down to her for another scene in Witches on the 10th of July, which I'm really looking forward to filming. So we've hired the local theatre. It's a beautiful old small theatre, and we're doing a big scene in there. We've got Alan Bryce, who edits the Dark Side magazine. You have the Dark Side, yeah. Pauline Piet from Satanic Rites of Dracula, and she was in Cuba with Sean Connery. She's going to be down again, and a lot of horror film aficionados going to be in this scene. Danny's in it, and the guys from Ice Cream on the Beach are going to be in it. It's going to be I've got 3 units filming that day. It's going to be huge, a big scene. And that's when one of my characters dies, and that's something to do with Lynn Lowry. I can't say what, but it's something to do with Lynn Lowry. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing Danny. Then that would be great. We seem to work quite a lot together. And again, like I say, she's lovely. You know, she plays an actress in Mosaic called Paula Valentine, and Paula Valentine's a scream queen. You know, a typical scream queen. She's got a great back catalogue of films. They made all the posters up, and we kind of think, I wish they'd just make these films, because they look something like Striptease Massacre, Strippers in Space was one title, and Werewolf Woman from Mars was another one. You know, it's all these films. I'd like to watch these films. So she's got a film on Prime, Amazon Prime at the moment, called Cowgirls versus Pterodactyls, by Joshua Kennedy, who did House of the Gorgon, which is kind of unofficial Hammer follow-up to the Gorgon, with Caroline Munro. And
I love Caroline. I've had her on here. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah. So there's who else is this? Not Valerie Leon, Martin Bezic, and a lot of the other Hammer ladies are in it.
I've had Caroline and I've had Veronica Carlson on here, both.
That's right. And Veronica Carlson is the other lady from House of the Gorgon. So, Joshua lives in Texas, if I remember rightly, and Veronica lives in the States, doesn't she? If I remember rightly. So but Caroline's lovely. I would love to get Caroline in Witches.
Caroline is awesome. I'm so fortunate to have her on her back in 2016. Yeah.
She's lovely. You know, I remember meeting her when back in the days. You know, I think we're talking again, sort of early 90s, mid 90s. I was going to a lot of sort of all-night horror conventions, and I remember Caroline being a guest there. I think there was one I met Lucio Fulci, which was pretty pretty awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, but yeah, Caroline was quite regular at these conventions at the time, and I'm in a meeting, and I was like thinking, wow, all I can think of was Captain Kronos and Dracula 1972 and
Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
Golden Voyage of Sinbad, of course, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So so yeah, she's fantastic. But now, the My Little Indiegogo campaign is on about 80%, and I can look at. There's a few things I'm looking at, just to because I'm greedy. I want this film to be like, this is my mag. This is I want to make it as big as I can for the budget.
Well,
So.
the cast has got my attention now. I'm very limited on time here, but I do want to bring up because I can't get involved as a co-producer or anything like that because financially I'm kind of at a standstill. But I am considering one of two things here.
Go.
And I might do both. I don't know. One is get the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other, I'm considering getting my picture put in the film. Now, how do I go about that? Do I send you the picture like on Facebook or something?
Well, look, I'll tell you what. Buy the Blu-ray, and I'll just put your picture in it to thank you for the interview. How's that
Really? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Just use my profile picture.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
okay,
that works.
Let's do that because the thing is, financially, it's not a great time for people. And I'm in the same boat. I mean, I took a job back in a school again because I needed some regular income.
Yeah.
It was all very well doing some extras work and doing the occasional bit of acting and selling the occasional bit of artwork. But that I've got responsibilities.
Yeah.
I've got a wife and children and grandchildren and a house and so it wasn't fair. So and then I'm also, whilst I'm doing all this, I've just literally started delivery driving for a fast food takeaway. So I mean, to raise extra money because I don't care what I do as long as I can pay my way. As long as I'm not proud, and I'll do what it takes. Last year I was doing cleaning as well. I was working in the supermarket the year before that. And you do what you have to do to get by, and especially in this time, when we had lockdown and everything. Whereas I was doing this extras work and this and that, that all dried up because the production stopped, and then people didn't have the money, and obviously I didn't have an actual job, so I wasn't getting any financial support from the government, and it was really tough, and it's not fun, So so I'm lucky in that the Indiegogo campaign has gone well. I have got some more news that I can't talk about until a contract is signed, but it is very exciting. But I'll tell you at some point. So in terms of the film's fine. Financially, the film's fine. Personally, I've got no money.
Actually, it looks great. Like this whole sight joke there with the sandwich that has the teeth. I mean, I don't know where that comes from, but it looks great.
It was again one of those little mad things, and I'm lucky in that. Literally, I would say I can almost see his house. Well, I would if my wall wasn't in the way. I've got a friend who lives about 10 meters away that way in that direction.
Oh yeah.
Who's an animator, and he animated the Gorillas on tour, and he's done movies and TV and adverts and stuff. And unfortunately for him, he literally lives there. So I'm like knocking on his door, So have you thought about, what you could do? And so he all this 3D modeling of these flying demon sandwich things, he did for me totally free.
Nice.
And this is high end stuff. And I said to him, out of a matter of interest, if I hadn't been if I wasn't your friend and someone had approached you, what would you have quoted them for what you've done? He went, probably about 20 grand. I was like, oh shit. I said, I'll get you a pint over there. I said, I'll get you a pint at the pub then. because because that was, well, it's like he worked on it for a long time. And it's stunning, the work he's
Yeah.
done is stunning. But all my friends, so the editors, the sound, the cinematographers, the camera guys, everyone around me is fantastic at what they're doing, and they've all done it free, which is amazing. I'm very humbled by people's generosity, and in terms of giving up their time, it's been pretty amazing. So yeah, I am humbled by it, but what's lovely is the quality shows in the footage. So I think, honestly, do think it's something to look forward to. I think that horror film, there's enough there for it to have wide appeal, but horror film lovers will get an extra bit of mileage from it, because they'll go, oh, I see what he's done there. Oh, I see. There's a little bit of fan love. The sort of stuff that I like picking up on when I watch a film. Oh, I see what he's doing there. He's a reference to that or this or something. Yeah, without it being a copy, adding my own twist to it. Which is what I'm hoping people are going to enjoy. So.
Okay.
That's kind of where we are with it. That's kind of where I am. Yeah, I'm very lucky.
So you told me just get a Blu-ray and you'll put my picture in it.
Absolutely.
You know what? I'll do that, because since hearing about this from Lynn Laurie on her page, really you kind of owe this interview to Lynn.
I shall say thank you. I'll message you a bit.
Because when Lynn gets back from her shoot, I'm having her on, and it's been long overdue, and looking forward to having her on. But she was the one that kind of gravitated my attention, because I just saw her post and the video she did, and
I mean, she's kind of. I mean, I think everyone in the film is, horror icons, but there's something about Lynn and I think working with Romero, working with Cronenberg, and also you've got that kind of that grindhouse, I drink your blood, and I don't know, there's something about her that's very I don't know, she's horror royalty, she's been there, done that, and it's continuing and still doing it, so I totally get that. I totally get that. I was thrilled when she agreed to be in it, so.
I'm kind of wondering, in the back of your mind, if you get Caroline Munro and Adrienne King in this thing.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. I mean, money wise, I think we're as I say, I think the Indiegogo campaign's at about £5,000. Now, in terms of making a film, that's nothing, But in terms of making my film, it's quite a lot. And so it kind of depends. I've got my heart set on a Wild West. I really, really, really want to do a mad Wild West scene. So another one of the flashbacks. And there's a Wild West town about an hour away from me that's a film set, but it's expensive. So I've emailed them saying, we're a very low budget film. Can you please support English, UK indie films by lowering your price a bit? So I'm waiting to see what they say. But of course, someone like Adrienne, who I'd have to fly over from the States and pay. That's going to be I don't know how much. I don't know how much it costs to fly from the States these days, but I can't imagine it's cheap. But there's possibility of Caroline. So I actually do know.
Caroline, yeah.
I do know her. I know her agent, and I know, and I'm good friends with her agent partner. So, but I've just got to be careful. I've just suddenly got this money. I've got to pretend almost like I haven't got it. I want to approach it in the same way I've been approaching it, and still be careful with it and make the most out of every single penny.
Yeah.
So I've got Lindsay Drew coming down, Lindsay Dawn, Lindsay Drew Honey, and the scene at the theatre is going to cost a bit of money. But so I mean, I would love. There's one or two names in my head I would still really like to get, but
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
Well, I'll get.
Go on, sorry.
I'll order the Blu-ray. I'll tell you
Okay,
that.
lovely.
Yep.
And then just what I have, when I get the perks list and everything together, I'll make sure I add you. But just every now and again, we'll have to do a friend thing as well.
We're connected on Facebook now, so
Perfect.
yeah, perfect. Yeah. So I really like the sound of this movie. You've got a wonderful cast assembled to it for it, and I've seen the promotional stuff you've done for it. It looks great. So
Thank you so much.
yep. So
very lucky with my artist friends, and
yes, you are.
And people who know how to use computers properly.
Well, you're in the same boat as I am there, so there you go.
So I think we're in that age group that kind of just missed out on that kind of. It was all sort of coming in as we were slightly too old, weren't we? So.
Well, when I was in high school, there were typewriters, so I think you can remember that,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, too right.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No.
Well, I appreciate having you on here today. I gotta get ready because I gotta go do some cleaning. I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
But I was so glad to get you on here. I when I found out about this through Lynn Laurie, I was like, I should have you come on here because I was on the fence about my involvement. I thought I'm gonna have you come on here and pitch it to me.
See what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I hope that. I mean, the thing is, like I said, I'm enthusiastic. I promise you now, I'm never producing. I'm not saying I'm never going to direct a film or write a film, but I'm never going to produce a film again because logistically, my head hurts every single minute trying to organize everything, and I can't do it. I'm doing it, but I don't like doing it. It's like all encompassing. I can't concentrate on anything else. It's like I can't switch off. I can't, it's always going on. It's driving me up the wall. So this is as far as me producing a film, or I'm not doing another one. So I'm throwing everything I can to make this as perfect as I possibly can. So thank you, but I thank you for your support, and I hope my enthusiasm has come across, and I hope
it has. Yes, it has.
Because I think so. My wife said, Tony, you're usually so bloody lazy. You managed to make a film. Can you please go and do the gardening? So yeah. I mean, So as long as the enthusiasm's come across, I honestly do believe it's going to be something a little bit different. And just a fresh look at nostalgia, maybe. Python, if Python did horror, I don't know. Put it where you like. It's got flying demon sandwiches, Excalibur, knights, witches, vampire, druids. So I really, 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 really want to have a sea monster. Which I don't know. It's just
there you go.
It's a bit crazy, and I'm loving it.
Well, I thank you so much for coming on today, and I have to conclude this because I got to get ready. But I thank you. This of course, we're talking to Tony Mardon, the brain behind the Witches on the Sand.
Thank you.
And so many great names in this. You got my attention. I'm happy to get the Blu-ray and happy to have my picture in the film.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to try to get more people from the movie on here. Aileen Dietz is supposed to be coming back on here too in the next short while, so we'll be sure to talk about this project.
That'd be great. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I've really enjoyed talking to you. It's always
Oh, I
fun
enjoyed it
to talk to
too.
people who are, you know, as enthusiastic about horror films as I am. So I very much appreciate it, and I look forward to another chat at some point.
Sure, we'll keep in touch. Absolutely.
Lovely.
God bless you and good luck with this project.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
You too. You take care.
You too.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye bye, my friend.